Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. How do I know that I'm going to be okay when this coronavirus is over? Maybe you've lost your job. You're still waiting on money. You don't know what's going to happen. All of those things are going around 1,000 miles per second, and you're in the midst of turmoil. Psalms 37 is the psalm that God gave me this morning. I want to share it with you. David is looking around and saying, I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm seeing these evil people over here that are prospering, and God, I'm struggling. And you know what God tells him? He said, don't fret. Do not fret. It only causes harm. I went to the doctor a while back, and he said, you got some triglyceride issues. And I said, well, I don't understand that. I don't eat that terrible and all these kind of things. And he says, well, you've been under stress. And I said, yeah, I have been under stress. And there's some things going on in my life at that time. And he says, well, that's keeping your triglycerides high because your body won't digest that fat if it's under stress. And then I started reading about the immune system and stress and the anxiety and all that it does and high blood pressure and all these things. And I was getting stressed over my stress. And it was like God was saying, I don't mean for you to live this way. You were never programmed to live in stress. Now, he says here in verse 3, trust in the Lord, dwell in the land and feed on his faithfulness. Feed on the faithfulness of God. Hebrews believed that within the name itself was the goodness, or was the pledge, or was the bona fides, if you want to put it that way. It was the guarantee of it being able to deliver what the name said. We've got the name of God, the all-powerful Elohim that created all things, and he shouts from that, trust me. The all-powerful Jehovah, the covenant-keeping God, a merciful God. He says, worship me from that name. And so we have the name of God, Jehovah Rophe, that means the God who heals, and Nissi, our banner, and we could go on and on with the names of God. But God's name is good for it. He says, dwell in that land. Stay with the promises of God. Don't leave the promises of God. Live there. He says, delight yourself in the Lord, He give you the desires of your heart. Somebody says, well, I don't have the desires of my heart. Well, let me ask you something. Are you delighting yourself in Him? Because if you're dwelling on the land, you're not living in the land of fret. The land of fret, remember, only causes harm. But God's land does what? You get the desires of your heart. You say, well, I don't know how that works because I don't feel like I can do this. Philippians 4:13 says you can. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Well, this battle's too big for me. And God says in 2 Chronicles that this battle's His and not yours. You're trying to steal God's battle. You say, well, I've asked for a lot of things and I don't think that God can give what I've asked Him. Really? Now unto Him in Ephesians 3:20 that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you ask or think. You can't out-ask God. You can't out-need God. His provision is sufficient. It's good for it. And so when I come to this place in my life of struggling with all of this, I start to realize, you know what? God's got this under control. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. That means He will vindicate you. He will vindicate you. David goes on to say, I've been young, I've been old now, yet I've not seen the righteous forsaken. Listen to this. Nor his seed begging bread. You're God's. You don't have to worry about these things. Does that mean I don't have to go to work? No. It doesn't mean that I don't have to do what God's called me to do in order to earn a living, but it does mean that I don't have to fret about it. I don't have to worry about the things that are beyond my pay grade. Stay with God. You remember the movie Top Gun? He said, don't leave your wingman. Don't leave your wingman. Don't stop living in the land of God's promises because He's good to keep them. He will do that for you. God bless you for this time that you spent with us today. And I pray that if it's touched you, you share it with somebody else. God bless you. Have a great day.